Okay, there we go. So my name is Mr. McLeod. I had a lot of your siblings, and I actually had a couple of you in the past, which is kind of cool. This definitely isn't how I want you guys to experience Calc, but we'll make the best of it. So I asked a couple of people already kind of, how their 1.1 trimester went. So, I don't want to lie to you. Calculus is going to be really difficult at this accelerated pace. And I'm going to do what I can to, make it go better for you guys. And I'll basically try to be available for help as much as possible whenever you want it. You guys should pretty much plan to dedicate a couple hours a day to Calc. For better or for worse, it's honestly the only way that you're going to be, somewhat successful at it. The ideal situation, the ideal way to learn this is going to be that you're going to participate in the live teaching every day. So, I don't really care what group you're in, if you're in Group A, Group B, or virtual. You're going to want to attend the live teaching every day at 10 o'clock. So it's the one good thing about this hour, I guess. No matter what day of the week it is, it's at 10 o'clock. So attend the live teaching. And then we're going to do all of our work, rather than doing it out of the textbook, we're going to do it out of Khan Academy. Partially for electronic availability, I guess I'll put it that way. Our textbook has nothing electronic other than you can download PDF of the textbook. There is absolutely nothing electronic or interactive about it. And the Khan Academy actually lines up with the AP test. So because we've got to go at such an accelerated rate this year, we kind of decided to maximize all kind of time that we can for everything. And so Khan Academy is going to be the way to do that. Now, I know I saw only a couple of you signed up for Khan Academy already. Make sure you guys do that before the end of the class period if you can. So in Schoology, I've got the Khan Academy instructions there, I guess is the best way to do it. So Khan Academy is kind of weird that when you just go to khanacademy.org, it's actually not super easy to find like a classroom code type thing for it. So you kind of have to use that link that I put in Schoology and then put in the classroom code, and then it'll put you in my class. Now, don't immediately start working on Khan Academy because I kind of have to approve you. It's not really approve you because you're automatically in the class, but it's not going to assign you, it's not going to give you the assignments until I, basically put the assignments on your name. So wait until it has assignments for you. You'll probably get like a billion emails from Khan Academy saying, you've got like 57 new assignments or something. I assigned the entire trimester right away. I went through and put in every assignment for the whole trimester. You're also going to want to sign up for AP Classroom. So that's another one of the links I have below that. The main reason for that is because the AP Classroom is how you have to sign up for the AP test. And they've extended the sign up for the AP test a little bit so that you guys can participate in this class for a little bit to determine if you want to take the AP test or not. If you want my recommendation, I'd sign up for it, and then there's no penalty this year if you decide to cancel, and they'll get your money back. So, but that's how you actually have to sign up and register for the AP test, is through my AP Classroom code. Okay, I don't know. That's just kind of the main layout for the class. So why don't we actually get started? This first unit is the longest unit by far. And it's only going to be 11 days. 11 school days. So everything is going to seem like it moves at a lightning pace. And this isn't going to feel like pre-calc at all. Because in pre-calc, a lot of you felt like, my guess is a lot of you felt like pre-calc felt like algebra. It was basically kind of like a hard version of algebra, plus you learned some trig. But that's kind of what pre-calc was. It's basically just a more complicated version of algebra. Calculus isn't like pre-calc at all. The whole idea of pre-calc is for you to learn the topics that you're going to need to succeed in calc. Basically, it's mastering the algebra version of calculus. You're going to learn new ideas and new things in calc this year. And you need pre-calc to be able to do these new topics successfully. Okay, so our first unit is going to be on limits, which probably you've never heard of or never done. They actually are in your pre-calc textbook at the very end, which you probably never got to. But, maybe you were bored and went ahead, so you might have seen them. Now, what a limit is it's a completely new concept or idea. And the best way I can explain this is the purpose of limits is to be able to find the value of something that isn't there. Okay? So let's focus on a line here. Let's say we have some kind of curve. That's a bad curve, but we'll go with it. And let's pretend, actually that'll erase the whole line, I think. Yeah, it will. Let's pretend this curve has a hole right in the middle. Okay? So in any normal function, if I ask you what the value of that hole is, you can't figure it out. Because what you would try to do is you would try to plug in this number. Say it's like 10. And if you plug in this number into the function, it would be undefined because there's a hole there. What a limit is it's using the idea that the information from the left and the information from the right are going to tell you what value is between them. That's what a limit is. So a limit is when the values of a function converge from the left and converge from the right on the same value. That's going to be called a limit value. And then that's kind of what a limit is. And I can write that one down if you want. Now, is the writing coming out clear enough for most of you? And if you guys absolutely, I know most of you, if you're anything like the classes I had last trimester, heck semester, nobody wants to speak out loud. And I get that, especially if you're in the classroom. It feels super awkward to talk out loud when nobody else is saying anything. Even though you guys can hear everything, it seems awkward to talk out loud. So if I ever ask you guys a question and you want to answer, be more than welcome just to type the answer in the chat. Because then it'll pop up, and then you don't have to feel super awkward. But we are going to make use of calling on people and answering a lot in this class because it's important in calc to be able to participate. So, If you want to make use of the chat, go for it. I'm not going to, that works for me. So for most of you, has this come out clear enough, like you're able to read it okay? Because that's about the smallest I'll write in that pink. Okay, perfect. I know the Chromebooks sometimes are pretty much flat garbage, but we'll do the best. Okay, now there is notation for limits. Oop, I almost skipped it. Today, we are purposely going to talk about limits from a graphical perspective, which this is graphical. I drew a picture. So sometimes you're going to be able to find the answers from a picture. Other times, you're going to be able to find limit answers from a table. That's what numerical means. And then analytical we'll kind of approach later, which would be tomorrow. Analytical would mean you're going to try to find a limit answer from equations. And you have to approach equations differently than you do from a picture or a table. And part of the reason that I mentioned earlier that your best chance for success in here is going to be to partake in the live teaching every day at 10 o'clock, and then go to do your assignments in Khan Academy. And then if you feel like you missed some ideas or concepts, you can watch the Khan Academy videos that kind of support and back up the homework. Part of the reason I'm recommending that is because we're not always going to have enough time for me to tell you everything that we need to cover. These 2.5 times classes here make it really difficult for Calc. So good question. I'm always going to be recording these. So the recording won't have anything for you guys on it. My recording is just going to be on the OneNote window. And I'll record everything we do in class. And then I'll post it on that day. So, oh, no. No, I can't count that at all. No, so when I kind of talked about I expect everybody to show up every day at 10 o'clock, it's more for your benefit. It's not like it's not going to be part of your grade. It's just that Calc is going to be difficult to learn in a hybrid setting, so you'll just want to partake as much as you can. So here's notation for a lot of this. So let's do one together. So an example. Find the limit of the function as x approaches 4. And that's how you would kind of read that. The limit of the function as x approaches 4. Now, for this particular one, let me just kind of draw a picture quick as I possibly can. And there's probably a million details I'll forget to talk about. Part of the reason I like creating notes for you guys and having you take notes is all of our quizzes and tests are going to be open note, open book, just because of the setup of the class. So any notes you guys take, certainly can help you out. So let me totally up to you. Completely up to you. They're not going to be much different. The main difference is that the Khan Academy videos are kind of much more specific to individual topics. So, like the stuff I talk about today, I think is like 8 different Khan Academy videos. And so that's just more of the notes. So in terms of writing notes, you probably want to focus on writing bigger ideas. And then if you come across something that you didn't understand, you might want to write that down. Okay. So I've got this picture up here. And I wrote a 4, and I drew it at 2. So let me erase this and pretend that I meant at 2. So if I want to find my limit of this function as x approaches 2, the whole idea of a limit means I'm going to look at the answer from the left and the answer from the right, and I'm going to want to see if they both match up. And if both of these answers from the left and from the right are the same, then that's my limit. So I'm going to do 2 separate. I need to find 2 separate answers, and you can do this in your head or you can write it down. I'm going to find the limit as x approaches 2 from the left. And they'll denote that by a little tiny minus sign. And maybe I'll color code this to try to help you out. And then I'm also going to want to try to find the answer from the right. And if these two have the same answer, then that's my limit. So from the left would mean I want to look on the left-hand side of x equals 2. From the right means I want to look on the right-hand side of x equals 2. Let's go with Holly. Holly with the Michael Scarn profile picture. Do you think you can help me out finding the one in white? Oh, yeah, what's the one that I wrote in white? The limit from the left. What would I write as the answer for that? It's 2, but it wouldn't be x equals 2. But perfect. Yep. So the answer is going to be the height. Maybe I'll write that. So this is a good way for you guys to take notes. A good way for you to take notes is if you didn't understand what this 2 meant, write a little note to yourself on what it meant. This meant that there was a height of 2 on the left of x equals 2, which I realize both the 2's might seem confusing. Now, Holly, before I forget, is it Hippus? Is that how you pronounce that again? Yeah, did you have like an older brother that was here a while ago? Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. Either way, it works. All right. Let's go with Julia. Julia Chafin? Chafin? It would. How do you pronounce your last name, by the way? Chaffin? Okay, perfect. Yes, so the height, and you don't have to write this, but I'll put it up there. The height of 2 on the right-hand side of x equals 2. And that's why I kind of tried to write my little arrows in colors, just color-coded for you guys. because the function on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side have the same value, then that's going to be my limit answer. Which I realize I didn't leave any room for that. This is going to be my limit of 2. And that's because on the left, it's a height of 2. On the right is a height of 2. We've got a half hour left. I'm doing my best to kind of go through this. You guys, at 11 o'clock, you guys have like some kind of, it's not a fire drill, it's something like a fire drill. I don't remember what they called it. I don't know why they picked today. Today it's a terrible day to do it. So if you're at home today, good timing. Somebody have a question on the one we went over so far? Absolutely ask away if something up here didn't make sense. I'm trying to start off fairly straightforward, and then we start going weird after this. You'd be given the graph. Correct. Correct. Oh, yeah, I just drew a random graph. Just drew a random graph. I'll draw another random graph next. Let's go with... Come on. I need a faster computer. Streaming does not work well with computers. You need such an expensive computer for it to even work good. What the heck is this doing? Good enough. Okay, so come on. So say we are given this picture, and 1, 2, 3. The nice thing about Khan Academy as well is everything is just already going to be there for you. The pictures, the tables. So let me put a solid dot there and an open dot there. Sure. That looks like a great graph. This is at a height of 2. This is at a height of -3. That's really the only thing you're kind of focused on there. But this would be labeled f of x. So this would be like a piecewise function. If you remember those from pre-calc, a piecewise function is a graph that's made up of pieces of other graphs. The curves that I drew on it don't matter at all. You just draw random, whatever. The only important thing is these 2 spots that I put right there. Okay, the question that you would be given would be, what is the limit of this function as x approaches -1? So x equals -1. Well, that's a bad one. Is this spot. That's x equals -1. Now, what you guys need to do is you need to figure out what is the answer on the left-hand side of -1. And then what is the answer on the right-hand side of -1? So this little tiny minus and this little tiny plus tell you left and the right. That's what those represent, and I'll try to color code this. On the right-hand side of -1 is right there. On the left-hand side of -1 is right there. So if you guys have colored pens or colored pencils, I'm just going to tell you that's going to be helpful for you for writing notes or, writing things to yourself. Because color coding actually helps out quite a bit when there's lots of information. Now, before we answer anything, does somebody have a question on like what I drew or what I wrote? Like, is anything up there feel confusing to you? All right. So then let's say, who should we go with? We should go with Matthew B. Matthew B, can you tell me the one in blue? On the left-hand side of -1, what is the height of the graph? Perfect. Okay. Do you want to keep going or do you want to call somebody else? Okay. It is -3. So the height of it on the right-hand side is at a height of -3. I know I kind of wrote on top of everything. Okay, now to write the final answer, the actual question. You can, how should I say this? Words are hard sometimes. Your limit answer, if the answer from the left and the answer from the right are the same, then that is your limit answer. If they are not the same, this problem, so if they are different, then what you would say is there is no limit. So you're not going to write doesn't exist, because that's kind of different. You're going to say there's no limit. Doesn't exist would mean there's nothing even there. This one, no limit, tells us that they're not the same answers. Those are basically the only two situations you run into. The left and the right-hand side will be the same, so then you give that number answer. The left and the right-hand side are different, no limit. Now, I say those are the only two situations, but you're going to find in Calc that there's always loopholes. And I can't remember if you start this today or not. I don't think you do, so I don't really want to go into it yet. But you might be asked to find a limit around an asymptote, where the graph goes straight up or straight down. And then that's slightly different. Okay, so this is graphical. Does anybody, are we okay on pictures? Most people feel like the picture method, the graphical version, feels more straightforward because you can see the answers. The next version that we're going to look at to find limits is from tables, which some people it feels like confusing to them, and others it's fine. Is there a table button? Can I insert a table? I can. Look at that. Whoa. What's that going to look like? It didn't do anything. Maybe I got to use the mouse. All right. Nice job, Microsoft. Well, I'm not even going to pretend to write a table, because drawing straight lines for this is hard. I will give you one. Yep. Oh, wait. Excellent. If the computer can catch up here. Hey, that's not a line. Okay, so let's have x, f of x. And obviously these could be set up different. If we are trying to find Caitlin. Caitlin, is it Reuter? Reuter? Rudder? Reuter. Okay. Caitlin, I need an x value. You've got the easiest question today. 6. Good choice. Good choice. So if we were trying to find the limit of the function as x approaches 6, well, then what I would want is I would want my table focused around 6. I'm going to need to see some x values very close to the left of 6 and very close to the right of 6. Now this isn't going to be like a table where you do -5, -4, -3, because that's not close. So what we traditionally will do, which I don't even know if I could write this small, is we usually start with the 10th to the left and then go to the 100th and the 1000th. Oh my God. You know what? Talking at the same time as writing doesn't always work. Does anybody know why I screwed this up? I mean, technically it would work, but I was trying to make this to the left of 6, which would be smaller than 6. And on the right-hand side of 6, bigger, because that would be to the right. Now, I actually was being kind of serious. Writing and talking at the same time is not always easy. So you guys are more than welcome to yell at me when I write something wrong because I'm talking. Now, sometimes we're going to have to create tables. Sometimes you're going to be given a table. I believe everything in Khan Academy, you're given a table. If you work out of our textbook, a lot of it is to create tables. So it's kind of different approaches. Let me just write some numbers in here for you. So let's say directly on 6, there's nothing, which would be the reason we're trying to find a limit. Because we can't find the answer by plugging in 6, I want to look at the numbers around it. Let's say this is 4.331, 4.31, 4.1. I apologize how horribly messy that table is. I should have made it a lot bigger. If there's anybody that can't read this, just let me know and I will say it out loud. Whoa. Somebody was trying to ask something, but their mic went goofy. If that, whoever's that was, you just type it in the chat and I can. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So, this is 4.1, 4.31, 4.331, 4.333, 4.33, 4.4. I was trying to follow a pattern, and I couldn't fit it. So if I'm trying to find the limit as x approaches 6, I'm going to need to find the answer from the left, and then I'm going to need to find the answer from the right. So from the left-hand side, I've got 4 as I go towards 6. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to go towards 6. So from the left, my answer is turning into, so I've got 4, 4, I've got 4, 3, 3, I've got 4, 3, 3, 3. So obviously it's just more 3's. And then from the right, I've got 4.1, 4.31, 4.331, and I can definitely tell in between those two should be 4.332. So this is getting smaller and actually, I should have written 4.34 right there, but there. No, that's better. So from the left, I can see it's turning into 4.332. From the right, I can see it's turning into 4.332. Basically, you can see the numbers are converging into 4.332 because it's right in the middle of them. So from the table is usually somewhat guesswork because you have to try to predict what number is in between them. Now you can't always just split the middle because if those numbers are pretty far apart, well, then there's no limit. So you can't just split the middle all the time. You have to be able to tell that both sides are turning into the same number. Isabella, your mic isn't working, for me at least. Oh, yes. No. So you would actually just say no limit. So when we're working with tables, it's more of an estimate or like an educated guess. Because tables, you can't see exactly what's happening. So you guys are going to have to try to determine if the numbers are turning into each other and like leveling off. So if I go up and kind of look at this picture right here. Oh, look, there's my table I tried to make before. That's a great spot to put it. How do I delete it? If I go look at my picture that I drew right there, that table would have values that are pretty far apart. Because the table numbers on the left would go up to 2. And the table numbers on the right would go up to -3. You would not find the middle of those two because you can tell both sides are turning into different answers. So you would just answer no limit if your table values were basically different. Let's see, 1046. I probably don't have time to write another table because you guys have to leave at 11. I guess what I wanted to talk really quickly about last, because I always want to leave some time for you guys to work or to get things done or ask questions. I don't want to use up the entire time speaking. The last thing I'll say is that I've already mentioned it quite a few times. When you have a limit, highlighters don't really work on this. if there is no symbol right there, if there is no symbol next to that number, then that's called a two-sided limit. And that's a majority of the limits you're going to be asked to find. If you are asked to find a two-sided limit, which they don't call it a two-sided limit, they just call it a limit, then you have to do what we did and find the answer to the left and to the right. And if they match, then that's a two-sided limit. And that's going to be the same whether it's from a graph, a table, or an equation. But sometimes you're going to be asked to find one-sided limits. And then that would only be from the left or from the right. And the only way you're going to know the difference is you're going to see these little symbols. And that's purposely why I wanted to make that a part of our notes and our lesson for today. So on the AP test and on Khan Academy, they're traditionally not going to directly tell you. They're just going to write down the problem, and you have to be able to look at the problem and identify what it's asking for. So let's just say I write one down. Let's go with Lucas. Lucas, do you think you could kind of read off what I just wrote down? Like, what does this tell you to do? Very close, but I mean, I'll give you, that's good. So you want to find the limit of the function. So I think you said x, but you did a great job. Find the limit of the function as x approaches -2 from the right. And so then if you are given a picture, you would look on the right-hand side of -2. If you're given a table, you would look at the numbers slightly bigger than -2. I put the negative up there as an example because those are the hardest to determine. Okay, so here's what you definitely need to do today. And I haven't looked because we've been teaching here. I need you to go sign up through Khan Academy, because then I'm going to go and approve people throughout the day here. It's not going to show you your assignments until I approve you. Like, you can sign up as part of the class, but it's just not going to give you the assignments until I approve you. And then that's essentially where our entire formative score is going to come from. And I got 10 minutes to tell you about Khan Academy's scoring.